2022 inductees into the Hall of Honors. I want you to realize that you're going in there with 60 individuals right now since 2004. And I was over there tonight. Looks like we're going to run out of space to fit anymore. So I talked to some of our team and also maybe some of the administrators might need to be looking at a kiosk to start putting those in and get them off that wall so we can get them all in there, because I don't want to stop after next year. So I will go ahead. I'm going to introduce the first person to come up, which is going to be Franklin Tunstall. He's going to do an introduction for Mr. Mike Winters.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Franklin Tunstall, and I graduated from BHS just a few years ago, back in 1991. Today, I'm honored to be asked to introduce my high school basketball coach, my driver's ed teacher, my mentor, and my friend Mike Winters to the 2022 Hall of Fame Honors for Bethany Public Schools. Mike Winters, or Coach, as I still refer to him to this day, served with Bethany Public Schools for 28 years. His career included teaching middle school, high school coaching. He was our bus driver, he was the athletic director, and I'm sure many, many other things. His influence and love for this school shaped me and countless others. High school is such a brief moment in your life, yet the people you meet sometimes become lifelong friends. An 18-year-old Franklin never could have imagined I would become close friends with Coach, with not just Coach, but his entire family, including both of his sons-in-laws. Together, Greg, Colt, and I and Coach have been all over the country hunting one thing or another. Our families have celebrated and cried together. We've loved watching OU football. Speaking of crying together, we just did that. Super Bowl parties, playing games, cheering each other's kids on, and sometimes just hanging out. Together, we made many wonderful memories. So I thought I might tell you just a funny story about Coach. This is a story I've laughed about for 35 years, and it's still funny to me. But when I was in 9th grade, we were in a preseason round-robin basketball tournament. Well, things were not exactly going our way, and we were making too many mental errors. We weren't hustling, and we were turning the ball over. And Coach sat us all down at the free throw line, and he decided he was going to give us a little motivational speech, if you know what I mean. So he says, a very frustrated coach says, "Fellas, y'all aren't acting like Broncos. The next time I see someone pass the ball, we're gonna..." And his mouth starts moving, but there's no words coming out of his mouth because the poor guy's so frustrated with dealing with a bunch of knuckleheaded 9th graders. He forgets his train of thought. And then on top of that, he takes his whistle and he throws it across the floor while his mouth is still moving, but nothing's coming out. Well, he finally realizes he needs to breathe, and the last words that came out of his mouth were, "Y'all are going to be running sprints all next week." Well, after all that had gone down, I looked at a good friend of mine, Sean Benz, Paul Benz's oldest son. I said, "Sean, did you get any of that?" And Sean said, I'm not sure what to." We're like, "Well, what should we do?" And Sean said, "I don't know." And I said, "Sean, go up there and ask him what we're supposed to do." Sean said, "I'm not doing that. You go over there and ask him." I said, "No, I'm not doing that." Well, anyways, I said, "Sean, you know what we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing in practice all next week?" And Sean says, "Yes, we're going to be running a lot of sprints." I'm thrilled Coach is being inducted into the Hall of Honors because of the way he impacted my life and so many others. So many students had the privilege, even though we didn't know it at the time, of having a basketball coach that invested in us as players. He taught us about basketball, but what he really taught us about was life. Just a few things. Sometimes you do everything right and it just doesn't go your way. Sometimes everything just goes your way. He taught us how to win without showing too much pride in how to lose with class. He taught us to work hard, encourage others, and be a teammate on and off the court. He was always willing to give someone a second chance, and he always tried to leave something a little better than the way he found it. And he always would step in and help a person in need, and be an encourager and a cheerleader when a young person found success. See, Coach, it's not just about you being my coach. It's about you being my mentor and friend. Congratulations.
Mike, you want to come on up, and you might want to speak. Okay, thanks, Mike. It's your turn.
I'm not going to say very much because all you guys know, especially Dr. Schellenberger, knows that I don't like talking in front of lots of people, but I do like to talk, and my wife says. I could tell stories on all these guys that play for me, and they'd just be really glad that I know, because we've got stories on each other for long memories, don't we, Big Sue?
I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Kent Schellenberger. He's going to introduce Rocky George.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Looking over this group of nominees and inductees, what an all-star group we have. 2 former employees, a community leader, a famed neurosurgeon that was educated in Bethany Public Schools. I tell you, it's a great group, and I think we're all excited to say we're proud to be Broncos tonight. On Monday night, I received a call from Jerry, and he asked me if I would introduce Rocky George. And I said, well, Jerry, yeah, I'd love to, but I'm going to introduce Neal Troutman, and I don't want to be up there, I don't want to act like this is my deal or whatever. And he said, oh no, don't worry about it. He said, in fact, we don't have anybody to introduce him. And he said, I think you'll be better than nobody. So here I am, and I accepted that challenge. I hope I'm better than nobody, but we'll go on. I am wearing this coat. I thought that I knew it was kind of a casual situation, and by me wearing a coat, I really thought that I would be out dressing Rocky George. But I'm not. He's there in a coat and tie, and he's got his purple on, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself, to be honest with you. However, Rocky served 36 years in Bethany Public Schools. He served many roles: math teacher, softball coach, golf coach, and ladies basketball coach. Now I want to tell you, I don't want to tell you how old Rocky is, but when he coached girls basketball, and you think of girls basketball being 5-on-5, well, there's several of us remember girls basketball played half court. We called it 3-on-3 or 6-on-6. That's the girls basketball coach that, or that's the girls basketball situation that Rocky coached. So that was a long time ago. And then later he served as athletic director, assistant principal, high school principal, and then his last few years as business manager. Drew's smarter than I am. He calls the business manager job the CFO, so I just called it the business manager. When I came on at BPS back in the late 90s, I quickly realized the trust, respect, and the admiration that employees had for Mr. George. You see, Rocky's a math teacher. He's quantitative by nature. It's yes, it's no. What you do to the left side, you do to the right side. This adds up to be this. And he is very quantitative. And that flowed through into decision making. And you knew exactly where Rocky George stood on decisions. And when you went to him about something, yes. You went to him about another, no. And the teachers respected and they admired that quality in Rocky George as a decision maker. Servant leadership is a term that we use often, and now it's being taught in administrative circles, with hospitals, with CFOs, with city councils, with churches. And servant leadership is somewhat of a new term, but I'm going to tell you, Rocky George displayed servant leadership long before we started talking about it. You see, there was no job too big or small for Rocky George. Stadium cleanup, turning off the lights, the last person out of the gymnasium, picking up litter in the hallway, many miles driving the yellow school bus back and forth to Ross Transportation, filling up the bus, doing whatever was needed to be done. Rocky was serving others. You asked Rocky for information. In later years, like I said, he was CFO, and I know Drew expresses this, but I'd go to Rocky, especially in the springtime when we were defining our budget and finding out where we were, and I'd say, Rocky, how much are we spending in this area? How much are we spending in substitutes? Where are we looking at? Well, about an hour later, he'd come back to me and say, here's where we're at. And I'd look at him and I'd say, you're just making this up. You can't find that out this quick. But no, he was always right there, Johnny on the spot, and he was always very helpful in whatever question you asked. In January of 2011, we called Rocky, and the principals always come in for their annual review and their annual evaluation. Well, I called Rocky in and said, let's come in tomorrow or whatever, and let's go over your evaluation. And we were going over that. It was about 20 or 30 minutes, and as usual, he was receiving his glowing and great evaluation. And at the end, I said, well, Rocky, talk to me. What do you need? What's going on? Let's talk about the future here. Well, I'm going to retire. And I said, retire? I just went through 30 minutes of giving you a great evaluation and going through all this, and now you're telling me you're going to retire? And he said, yes. And I thought in the back of my mind, no, you're not. Just hang on. You're not going to retire. Well, we let it follow out, and the remainder of the school year played out. He informed his faculty. But then about March of that year, we talked him on to staying and being a operations director and helping in administrative duties and being a part of Bethany Public Schools. There was too much what they call institutional knowledge and relationships for Rocky to walk out the door. Well, as luck would have it, about a year later, we were going to have an opening with our business manager / CFO. And I went to Rocky about March or April of that spring, and I can remember this as clear as I'm standing here. It was right out here in the parking lot. And I went up to Rocky, and he was in the maintenance truck, and he was helping Greg with some duty or something. And I said, Rocky, we're going to have an opening in the business office. I want you to take over that responsibility. And I could see the wheels spinning. I just knew he was going to come back with a question like, what's the pay? What's the hours? Is there going to be in-service for learning this job? What direction do you want to take the business manager? And I could tell the wheels were spinning. And I thought, I've got an answer for any question that he asked me. And he had looked at me, and he was as serious as he is sitting there right now, and he said, do I have to wear a coat and tie? And he had me. So I thought, well, if I say yes, he's going to say, nope, I don't want it. So I said, nope, you don't have to wear a coat and tie. Rocky is and was the epitome of a great employee. Loyal, admired, respected. I don't know that he ever missed a day of work. Coming early, staying late, covering ball games. I was talking to Barbara before this event, and I said, you guys are traveling to Hawaii, Boston, Chicago. That's a lot different than Rocky and I going to Alva, Tishomingo, and Frederick on a Friday night. She said, yeah, it's a lot more fun too. But Rocky was there for all of his duties, and then some. For 36 years, there's not a better name for a person than the name of Rocky. He was the rock for Bethany Public Schools. And I'm thankful that I had a relationship with Rocky, and thankful that we worked all those years together, and we had some great times. And I want you to know, Rocky, I really appreciate you and what you did. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sasquatch. Jerry said, don't talk too long. There's a story on Channel 9 about Sasquatch tonight.
Yeah.
So I will try to, he's a believer, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, what can I say but thank you to Dr. Schellenberger. I mean, really, I don't know who you were talking about, really. Mentioning somebody else in the crowd. I got so many people to thank and so little time, but first of all, my wife. To be the wife of a head coach, the wife of a high school principal, is not probably a great job at times, but she always supported me, and I just appreciate everything she did for me so much. And raising a family, he just talked about all the events you go to and the nights you're out. It's just unbelievable, but she raised them two boys well. I want to thank them, Daryl and Doug. I'm so proud of those boys. Again, probably wasn't fun when they came through the high school with their dad being the principal. I'm probably pretty sure they're shaking their head no. I don't know what that means. It wasn't fun or it was. I don't know which way to take that. But I really never heard anything about it from them. We didn't really discuss it. We didn't discuss school too much, what went on, or if there was problems, and I really appreciated that, and I appreciate their support. I'm proud of them. There's people sitting in this room right now that had them in class. You guys have had something to do with where they are now. I'm proud of their professions, proud of them as their husbands, and proud of them as being the fathers of my grandchildren. And that's something to really be proud of. I want to thank my daughter-in-law Erica for coming tonight, two of my grandchildren, Ava and Evan, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Jeff and Bernice. I appreciate you guys coming tonight. I'd like to thank whoever nominated me, but I'm not sure who that is. If they're here tonight, thank you. It's probably good. Maybe people don't know. That way your house won't get egged or you won't get hate mail or anything like that, maybe. Also want to thank the committee for inducting me, choosing me. I know that's not always an easy decision. I served on that committee for many years, the high school principal. If I remember correctly, there's 9 voting members. So I want to thank the 5 that voted for me, because I'm sure it was a split decision, I'm sure. I want to thank Mr. Delozier and Ms. Tackett, the leadership class, for what they do with this event, and all the alumni committee also for putting on this event. There's so many people to name, it just take too long, but I want to thank board members, superintendents, administrators, teachers, support personnel, students, parents, business owners, and the residents of this district. All of those people that I worked for and worked with in 36 years were so supportive, and that's what makes this district what it is. Yeah, we have great facilities. So we drove up today and I saw just changes in the 2 years I haven't been here, and out the sports complex. It's just amazing. But what makes this place is those people, and the people that I worked with were great. And so I thank the committee again. It was a great 36 years. It was a great ride. Thank you, and go Broncos.
Okay, kids coming back. You know, what kid said is not really true. No. Okay, you'll later.
Well, Neal Troutman. You know, I didn't know his name for a few years. I had so much respect for him. All I'd call him was Chief, and found out he had a first name of Neal, and so I started calling him Neal in later years, and I hope that's okay. But Neal is a 1963 graduate of Bethany High School, and let me tell you, Neal always bled purple and white. He was a Bethany police officer from 1968 to 1973, took a brief absence in law enforcement, and then in early 1980s, he went to work for the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department. Put that on hold for a second. In April of 1997, I was humbled and honored to be named the superintendent of Bethany Public Schools. During the transition process, I was meeting frequently with Mr. Dickerson, who is the current superintendent, outgoing, retiring, and others. And there was lots of, believe me, there was lots of advice that was given to me as I was incoming as a superintendent. But one of the areas that Mr. Dickerson and many people said was there needs to be an improvement with the city, and there needs to be an improvement of relations with the Bethany police officers and the Bethany Police Department. I thought, well, that's going to be easy. I'll handle that. I'll just go take care of that in the next month or so before I actually start July 1st. Well, a month or two went by, and I went and met with leadership with the police department and said, hey, we need help. We just need you walking the halls, coming to games. Would you mind being a part of Bethany Public Schools? Well, I found out that was a steeper hill to climb than what I thought. And it was a difficult hearing, well, we just can't do it because we have 5 or 6 other schools in Bethany. So I kind of banked that and put that on the shelf for a little bit. I started my position July 1st and got involved. We had school starting and things going on. Well, about the middle of September, D-Lot walked in my office in 1997, and she said, Ken, I have some exciting news. And I said, what's that? She said, well, there's a big rumor going around, and Dee knew it was more than a rumor because she's family friends with Neal, chief. And she said, the rumor is Chief Troutman is going to be hired as the new police chief in Bethany. And she said, I can promise you one thing, relationships will change. Well, October, city council named Neal, and he started work in 1997 in October. And I thought, well, I'll give Neal a couple of weeks to get boots on the ground, so to speak, and get immersed in what he's doing. Well, about 2 days later, he's out in the outer office. And he probably doesn't even remember this, but he came in and he started telling me what the police department is going to do for and with Bethany Public Schools. And I thought, man, am I dreaming? Is this, and sure enough, police were walking the halls or at ball games, Neal's involved with the school. It's just a total 360. And to that I was very, very thankful. Well, he immediately immersed himself in Bethany. Under his leadership, a new police station was built, new municipal court facilities. He oversaw the fact that a grant was written for Bethany Public Schools called Cops in Schools. The federal government paid for a police officer to be involved or be at our school district for the entire length of the day, and that went on for about 3 years. He was also involved in Kiwanis, president of Kiwanis, and just really was involved with our city as he would be, and also with our school districts. But there's one area that probably a lot of people, and it probably goes unnoticed. But 20 years ago, or 22 years ago, and I believe, Doug, you scored the first touchdown at the new stadium when we were playing with Tonga one night. But we were able and fortunate to move out to the west side and take over the McFarland Park. And it became SNU Bethany Public School Sports Complex. Well, there were some hurdles to that. And it was a public park, and there were things going on at the public park that probably wasn't in the best interest of what the city was about. And there was a little bit of resistance of Bethany Public and Southern Nazarene taking over that entire area. And I remember one day in particular, Lauren Gresham and myself and Dan Galloway and J.D. Johnson, who was the mayor and the city manager, we were sitting around a table at City Hall, and they call in Neal Troutman. And they said, Neal, Chief, what's your thoughts of Bethany Public and Southern Nazarene taking over this West Side Park area? He couldn't have been more eloquent. He said, look, it'll be the best thing that will happen to the city. It will, we'll have less trouble out there. We won't have to patrol it as often. We'll still be involved. And I mean, he had the leadership of Bethany right there in our hip pocket. And not many people know, but I'm going to tell you, he was very instrumental in getting that to happen. And we're forever grateful for that. Neal retired in 2008. And I thought, again, like with Rocky, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that's going out the city of Bethany. So I kind of tucked my head between my legs, and I thought, I don't want to embarrass Neal or demean him, but man, we'd love to have him up here as our campus security, our school resource officer. So I kind of went to him and said, "Hey, Neal, would you want to be our campus security resource?" I just kind of had a hard time saying it to him. I had so much respect for him. And he said, "Well, I want to work a little bit, but I want to play golf, and I want to do some things." And I said, "I understand. Make it 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours." He immediately said yes. And you know where he was every morning at 7:15? He was right out there directing traffic. 36th and 42nd, and what is that? Asbury going up and down, and he was out there come rain or shine. Police chief, retired, directing traffic for elementary kids. Think about that for a minute. Well, Neal's one of those guys, and Sherry Cole, former basketball coach at Oklahoma University Women, she writes about this on a blog, and I'm on her blog, and Rocky, you're surprised that I can even pull up stuff on the computer, I know, but I do. And Sherry Cole writes about hallway conversations or doorway conversations. It's one of those meetings that you have, it's impromptu, it's not an agenda, it's not a formal meeting, it just happens. And you know what? I love the times that Neal and I could have hallway or doorway conversations. Sometimes there were 2 minutes, sometimes there were 20 minutes, but I tell you, the knowledge and wisdom that I gained from him is incredible. A lot of times, our doorway conversations happened at 7:15, at 7-Eleven, at 36th and Rockwell, because I knew he was going to be there and get a cup of coffee before he came to work. And it was one of those times that I remember and really respect and learned a lot from Chief Troutman. Well, let's fast forward to 2022. Neal retired in 2008, as I said. Well, Neal came in and presented a different understanding, different mentoring, different partnership with Bethany Public Schools. His successor was Major Phil Cole, became Chief Phil Cole. He had a daughter in our school. Guess what? Still had officers, still had the chief of police involved in the school, still had things that were happening. Neal started this relationship before the tragedies of Columbine, Sandy Hook, the school tragedies that we hear about, but Neal just got it. He just understood the relationship. Well, let's fast forward past Phil Cole. He retires. Another inside succession happens. J.D. Reed becomes Chief Reed. Guess what? Chief Reed has a couple of kids here in school. Chief Reed is still involved, as is other officers that are in our school, and the relationship still continues. And oh, by the way, remember I said that back in about 1999, Bethany Police Department wrote a grant for cops in schools? Well, that first officer was Chad Meek, who is now the assistant police chief of Bethany Schools, of Bethany Police Department, and his wife teaches here at Bethany Public Schools. What am I trying to say? The relationship that he started, the mentoring, the nurturing, the involvement of the police department, which was public school district needs, and Drew and Dr. Flinton and all the administrators here know exactly what I'm talking about. They need the police department. And Neal, his relationship and his mentoring is still going on today here at Bethany Public. His implementations are still in place. Our community, and especially our school district, is a safer place because of Chief Neal Troutman. Thank you, Chief.
Well, I can't follow that up, so I really don't know what to say. It was just a joy. It was a game plan whenever I took over police department at Bethany. It was a game plan that our officers were going to get involved in the schools and also the community and the elderly. That was just my game plan. And I just kind of changed things at the police department. We used to be a traffic agency and write tickets. That's all they would do. They didn't get down in the neighborhoods. They didn't get involved in the schools. So, with that said, when Dr. Schellenberger and I got together, it was an easy commitment for us to commit an officer to this school, because I wanted to get involved with it all along. And so we worked it out where it was a partnership, one of the best moves I've ever made. Not only did it impact the schools, I got a new friend, Dr. Schellenberger, who I have all kinds of respect for him. He's been nothing but great to me. Talks way too highly of me because I'm not what he says I am, but let that be. But I just enjoy Bethany Public Schools. I always have. I went to school here, played ball here. My son went to school here, played ball here. So it was easy to get involved with the school. And especially, I had a lot of fun with Rocky George when he was principal. I just had a lot of fun working here after I had retired from the police department. I stayed here when Dr. Schellenberger and I had the conversation about whether I'd come and help him or not. I decided to give it a try for a year, and I did, and I stayed here for a year. And I finally went into his office and said, "Hey, Doc, I just don't want to work a full year." And he said, "Well, could you give me 3 hours a day?" I said, "Sure, because I'm not going to tee you off before 10 o'clock. It was easy to come on in here, and I had a great time standing on that street corner. Didn't bother me a bit. I met a lot of nice parents, a lot of nice kids. I really enjoyed coming to work and working on that corner. I want to congratulate the people that I went in induction to, the Hall of Honor with, Rocky, congratulations. Mike Winters, congratulations. Doc, congratulations to you. And the other 60 people that are already in the program. I'm not real sure who nominated me. I know Jim McCullough was one of them, and Jim McCullough, I appreciate you, and I thank you. I thank everything that Dr. Schellenberger's done for me over the years. We had a wonderful relationship. I miss it. I'm retired, and he's partly retired. Things aren't easy when you get old, and I'm old, so. But with that said, I'm just tickled to death to have this award. It means a lot to me, and I'll cherish it. I'm shocked that I got in it, but I did, and I don't know who all to thank, but I thank them. I thank the school, the administration, the board, whoever's involved in the board. Jerry Nellen, I thank you. I got a little coaching before I came here, so I kind of knew what was going to happen. But with that said, I had a good time at the police department. I had a program that I wanted to come to the police department and change a lot of things. I had like 10 things that I wanted to get done. I have never operated on an I program. I've always operated on a we program. And we built a new police facility. We built a new courthouse. So I had about 10 things that I wanted to accomplish before I retired, and we just turned the police department around. I got the captains involved, and it seemed like once I got those 10 things accomplished, and I was there about 11 years, I'm not gonna say it wasn't fun anymore, but some things started happening, and I thought it was time for me to step down, and I retired, and don't regret it. Looking back on it, I'd probably do the same thing. But I was just blessed to get involved with Bethany Public Schools. That means a lot to me. You all have been very good to me. The administration's always been good to me. The teachers have been good to me. I don't know how the teachers do what they do. They're second to nobody. Hard worker. I mean, they're all very hard work. I'll drive by sometimes and I'll see some cars up here and I think, surely it's not a teacher up there working on a Saturday afternoon. But it is. I mean, they are tremendous. I don't know how they do what they do. They're underpaid. And But they love their jobs just like law enforcement. We love our job. That's why we get involved. I wore the uniform for years because that uniform gave me the opportunity to reach out and help people. And I get upset sometimes with the officers today that they don't understand that you wear that uniform, there's a lot of people out there that need help. Reach out. Reach out, help the other, get involved. And I would get upset at times, you know, it's kind of hard to tell these young kids a lot. You would sit there and preach to them about getting involved in the school. Go up there. You know, you got a kid up there. Why not just go up there and walk through the hall, say hi to the kids? Go by and say hi to the principal. Just get involved with the kids. That's all I ask. That's not too much. Because all you're doing, you're riding around out there, you know, patrolling the neighborhood. And what's it going to hurt to stop? And the more scout cars that this school sees parked around it, the less some bad guy's going to walk in here and get stupid. And I preach that, and I preach it, and I preach it. But in today's world, as we all know, law enforcement now is staying very busy because this world's changing. It's changing in a hurry. There's no consequences for crime. As you know, nationwide, judges are letting people out with no bonds or dropping charges, whatever. But anyway, I say all that to say I really appreciate everybody that's involved in this. I want to thank my wife, Carissa. You've done a lot for me, and I thank you for it, and I love you. If I forgot somebody, I apologize, but y'all have been very, very good to me, and I thank you for it.
Hey, Judy. Judy's going to come up and introduce her brother.
Thank you, Jerry. Well, good evening. They saved the best for last. No, I'm kidding. My brother is definitely the best, in my opinion. So, Donnie, Dr. Horton is my twin brother. So, I have had a front row seat to a very amazing life, a life filled with integrity, someone who has had faith, family, and honesty in his life from the beginning. And again, I've gotten to see it since the day I was born, basically, and very, very proud of him. Donnie and I graduated in 1975 from Bethany High School. We just counted, there was 60 in the picture, but Linda, who's on the board, reminded me there were some. Linda's right here, taking up, there's 62. She wasn't in the picture. She missed that day and a few others. So we had a great time at Bethany High School. Really thank Bethany High School for a lot of the lessons that we learned that went on later into life. Ginger, Donnie's wife, is here tonight. Donnie has 4 wonderful children, 2 stepchildren. 4 children all live in other states. His stepson and wife and grandson are getting ready to go on missionary work, and then stepdaughter is in another state, so they couldn't be with us tonight, but family is also very important to him as well. Donnie attended the University of Oklahoma Medical School. He's worked in several places. Mercy, Spine Hospital, several places here in Oklahoma City. But the most important thing about him as far as his work goes is it would be impossible to tell you how many times that people have come up to me, people from Bethany High School that I've attended school with, to tell me the difference that he's made in their life. And you know, when I go to work and do my job, it's business. He works with life and death every day. And I have people come up to me that tell me that he changed their life, changed their child's life. And the pressure that he must go through is completely different than I think most of us face. And just in the last homecoming, I was there with Valerie and Linda. I was getting ready to leave, and I had a man that graduated a couple years younger than I, and he goes, "Judy, is Donnie here?" And I said, "No, he's not going to come here tonight." And he goes, "My wife wants to talk to you to deliver a message." Okay. Same message I've heard so many times. Your brother is so wonderful. He came and saw me so many times when I was in the hospital. And I walked in terrible pain. I woke up, I was pain-free. Now, we all know that doesn't happen every time. But she said he changed my life, and the care he gave to me, the way he listened to me, the way he's cared for me. Again, multiple times I've heard that story from people I've worked with, people who want to come up to me and talk to me about what a wonderful person he is. And even from a personal perspective, my son who's here tonight, Drew, Easter Day 1998, we're in the emergency room, and I call him, it was 10 o'clock at night, 11, saying, you know, I'm in the emergency room, Drew's nose won't stop bleeding, and he was so kind. He comes up to the emergency room. We find out that, and he knows this, I don't know, that he has leukemia. Donnie takes us up to the oncology center at Children's. He knows all the doctors there because he helped, at the time he was a pediatric neurosurgeon at Children's, and he had helped develop the brain tumor clinic at Children's, knew the doctors, and was such a tremendous help as we walked into that situation that morning right after Easter when Drew was 4. We're very blessed he's here tonight, it's fine. So again, I just want to say how honored I am to be here. It's a blessing for me to get to introduce him because I think he's one of the finest people I've ever known. And we both loved attending Bethany High School. I have 3 brothers that attended Bethany High School, an older brother, a younger brother, and we all really loved our time here. So Donnie has contributed to the basketball team. He still sings in the choir with Dave Johnson's group that goes and sings at nursing homes and does some other activities. So he has supported the Bethany High School since he has graduated. So I am very pleased to introduce him. Thank you.
This is such an honor, I can't tell you what this means to me. I appreciate it so much. But I feel so intimidated being here. I was, Neal mentioned meeting the principal. I met him probably more than I should have back in the day. When I was here, he had one school bus. And we'd go to Jones or Mustang, whatever, play basketball or football. And they'd park the bus backwards on a hill because we'd have to push start it down the hill to get it started. It was so cool. And the facilities here are so amazing now. And the faculty, the leadership here, the faculty has just done an amazing job. I wanted to mention 4 teachers in specific. However, they're already on this Hall of Honor, so I'll stop that. But there's so many. And your leadership and faculty, like I said, are just amazing. I'm so proud to be an alumni of what you all have done. I've got about 5 pages of notes if you'd like me to read them. I think we'll call it quits, and I really am honored and appreciate this so much. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just do some closing remarks and we'll be out of here. First of all, thank you guys again and welcome to the Hall of Honors. I do want to thank some people who really helped me out this year. Josh, are you here? Where's Josh? Josh isn't here in his leadership class. Lisa, if you'll let Josh know, we really appreciate everything that he did for us and the alumni with the programs and the videos. We actually had videos this year. So if you didn't get to see the videos as you were coming in, I hope they're going to play as we go out, maybe. Because I know there may have not been some people in here. I will put them out. I'll get it from Josh. I'll put it out on Facebook. So if you haven't been able to see it, we'll put it out on Facebook. Secondly, with Josh and Lisa and Drew as well, you know, I can talk about other alumni at other schools, but I can tell you that I think that we're probably one of the most involved alumni that there are. We get the chance to work with schools, we get the chance to work with students. With Josh and Lisa helping with this, they've taken over things, and we get to work with the leadership and the students at the school to produce things. So we're thankful for that. We're thankful for Drew. He keeps the relationship open as well. So we appreciate that. We also are able to have an alumni store at the games that we sell our product. That money is used for scholarships that's given away every year. We were not able to do it last year, but we'll be doing it this year. But it's the Griffiths Memorial Scholarship Fund that the alumni gives back as a scholarship. The Griffiths Golf Tournament is coming up, October 24th, Twin Hills. I know if you are a golfer, I think Neal is a golfer. Neal, you're gonna play golf on the 24th? You're a wannabe golfer, okay, that won't work. You can come out and drive the cart. So if you don't have anything to do, come play golf. Let's support the scholarship that we're doing for the Griffiths Memorial Scholarship. That's in honor of Jay and John, who are both teachers here, principals, and counselors. Jay and John, I graduated with John, and Jay Griffiths was a major mentor in my life when I went to Bethany First Church. Again, I got grounded here at Bethany High School. I got grounded at Bethany First Church, and then I ended up at Southern Nazarene University. So I had a lot of values that were put into me when I left to move to California and to do some of my other things that I've done. So the values were set here, and it was also set in this whole community. So that's, I really appreciate the school for that and the values that were set. Last but not least, we also get to work with the seniors every day. We go out one day at the end, there's tests that are given. We get to go out and we call it Senior Day. It's Alumni Senior Day. So the board will go out there. We'll be with the seniors while the tests are going on back at the school. That gives us the opportunity to welcome them into their alumni, because in less than we see them, they're graduating. So they don't have the school there. We are now their school to help them. And it's really worked out great because it's kept those younger kids involved, and they're also, we release a Facebook page to them, so they have their own Facebook page. But I noticed the other night, there's a class from 2030 that I guess the parents have started, and they put it out there for the class of 2030. So it's going to be interesting to see where that Facebook page goes when 2030 gets here. But it's the kids in elementary that the parents are posting on it, so it should be kind of interesting when that goes there. And I'm going to try to save it to our page, if they'll allow me to be a part of it. I don't know that they will, but we'll try. So that's really all I have to say. We do have a video on the alumni. We are digitizing every one of the yearbooks. So we're going to put all your yearbooks up online. So the reason we got that idea is because we had a call from Ancestry.com. They wanted all of our yearbooks. We said no. You guys might not want your information out there. So we didn't let them have the yearbooks. We decided we put them out there ourselves and have a code that you use to get in if you want to look something up in the yearbooks. So we're digitizing those yearbooks. We're getting them up there, but that's probably going to be another year before we get those done. It doesn't take long to do it, but we have a lot of yearbooks to do. And I think that Josh said that his class might be able to help out as well to get that done. So I think that's it, and I do want to thank my alumni committee, Brad, who's my vice president, and Mona, is she here? Mona? Okay, just making sure you didn't leave it. She sneaks out on me. But Mona's our secretary treasurer. Linda is on the committee. Who else am I missing? Valerie. What's your last name, Valerie? Valerie's on the committee. We do have several that are not here. Ronnie Reed. Jim Brown and Jamie. Where are they? They're back there. They're there. They're our newer committee members. So I just want to thank my committee. They do a great job for me, and I appreciate all they do for me. and try to keep me in line, but it doesn't always work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So, anyway, thank you. Have a great evening, and thanks for coming.